Most people are typing long, messy paragraphs into Claude and they are getting average results back. There's actually a faster way to do this. Claude has a set of what I call secret codes, and these secret codes are basically short commands that you type and then Claude runs a whole expert workflow for you. Okay, so let's get started. So before I build anything and I don't want a big result, this is exactly what I do. I go into Claude and I type the command grow me, and then I follow on with my prompts. I want to build an AI client onboarding system for my coaching business, and I'm going to hit enter. So you'd realize that instead of Claude going right away to actually build it, it's going to come back and give me about 7 questions, sometimes 10 to 15 targeted questions. Just answering those specific questions make me realize everything I hadn't actually thought through. And then it goes ahead to confirm the short specs and build from that. So this particular secret code would fix vague results for you. Now, let's say I don't want a full interview and I just have a rough prompt. That's what /4.8 is for. And it will just take those 5 big words and it's going to rewrite them into a clean, finished prompt optimized for Opus 4.8. So you can see that it just took that big prompt I gave it and it's actually giving me something more actionable and specific. And if I'm doing something creative like writing a welcome story or a fun email sequence, I'm just going to switch to, let's say, Fable 5. And I'm going to use this exact secret code, Fable Prompter. And it's basically going to do the same prompt cleanup. It's going to take this vague prompt that I have in here. And then what it's going to do is it's going to tune it for Claude Fable 5's model so that we get a richer response and we get something a lot better. So you can see that it's just taking that vague prompt I put in and it's turned it into something more realistic and usable. Now I can go ahead and say, build the client onboarding skill right now. But I don't want to do that, but you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so now let's move on to something more fun. Let's say now at the point where I actually want to build the onboarding system and I want to do a bit of research. And let's say I want to know the tools and approaches other coaches use without having to open 40 different tabs. This is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the / deep research analyzer. And I'm going to basically use this exact prompt in here. And what you would realize is that it would go ahead and dig across multiple sources and it's just going to hand me back just the findings that actually matter, just because I'm using this exact secret code, which is deep research analyzer. So you can see that it's going through multiple pages in here. So you can see that it's actually giving me all the information I need. Let's say I now need to go ahead and document my process so that it's repeatable, so that you can hand it to your VA, or let's say there's a way you actually edit your videos and you have like a new editor and you want to hand the SOP to somebody else. You just have to come into Claude and just type how to, and what it would actually do is it's going to provide you with like a step-by-step guide that a total beginner can follow. So in this case, I'm going to type how to, let's say, onboard a new coaching client from a signed contract to a first session. So you can see that it's giving all the steps, right? And this is basically something you can actually export and just hand it over to your VA. Or if you want to end up setting up an automation, then it can go ahead and set up an automation for you as well. Obviously, I've been working in Claude for a really long time, so it already knows what my onboarding flow looks like as well. So if you provide it with the right context, then it's going to do everything for you. Now, this is to help you with like messy notes, right? Let's say you have messy client info that is scattered across notes and emails. This is exactly what you do. You just come in here and then you type /Excel style, and you can provide the messy data here. And it's basically going to format that messy data into a clean structured table, just like a spreadsheet pro would do for you. Now, let's say you want to lock in scope with a client. Okay, when you're working with clients, sometimes you want to make sure that you're locking in the scope early on so that there's no like scope creep at the end of the day. And even if there's scope creep, you can actually charge more for it. So if you want to lock in the scope with a client, then you can just use the /client brief, and you'll be able to like package the whole onboarding project into like a sharp brief. They can actually sign off and you don't need to do any back and forth on that. If you are using this exact secret code, what you have to do is you'd have to provide it with like some additional data like rough notes, and it would go ahead and lock in the scope for you. One quick reminder though, as much as I like to use AI, just know that you just want to use Claude to draft all of this and then you still read it before it touches the real client. Let's move on to the next group of secret codes. This is, let's say, once you are done with building your onboarding flow, you actually want to basically turn it into content. Okay, this is actually the fun part for me, right? Let's say you fixed onboarding. That's a great story. So you want to actually get some content out of that, and you want to like talk to people about it, let's say on LinkedIn, right? So this is what you can do. This is one secret code you can use. So you can come into Claude and you can type my viral LinkedIn post, and then you can actually just give it one rough thought and it writes the whole post for you. So let's say I'm going to give it this exact rough thought. I rebuilt my clients onboarding with AI and got hours back every week. So I'm going to do this, and you see the LinkedIn post is going to get out of this for us. Okay, so you can see that the LinkedIn post has been created. Now, if you feel like the post feels flat, right, it's not giving you the hook you want, you just wanted to basically rewrite the hook, you can actually use this exact secrets code, which is basically /LinkedIn hook, and then it would basically rewrite the first 2 lines for you, and those 2 lines decide if anybody wants to read it or not. So you can see that it's giving me some different kind of hooks that I can actually use for this exact post. It's giving me different types I can use, and it's giving me the pick. Now, if you want it to be even a lot more sharper, then you can basically go ahead and type #Hormozi-1. And what this would do is it would rewrite it in a more punchy, high contract style for you. It would basically have short lines, strong contracts, and there wouldn't be any flap with this. So you can see that it's sort of like shortened it up, made it a lot more puncher for me just by using that exact secret code. Now, let's say you are so worried this sounds like a robot. You can actually come in here and use this exact secret code, and what this will do is it will basically strip out the AI cliche so that it reads like an actual human. Usually the way people tell that a statement is AI sounding is it doesn't signal X, it signals Y. If it's this, it's not that. Like if you usually have those type of sentences in a post, people just immediately think it's AI. So what this has done is it's gone ahead, and just because we use this exact anti-writing style, it's just gone ahead and sort of like the AI did for me. So you wouldn't basically see any if not X, then it's Y in here. Now, once this post goes live, you can go ahead and use this exact secret code, so LinkedIn post report, to tell you how it basically performed and what to change next time. You can also use this exact secret code, which is the viral LinkedIn post recipe, and it would basically reverse engineer your best post in a repeatable formula that you can actually use. So now if you want to make it into a visual, you can actually just come in here and type /infographic builder. And what it's going to do is it's going to turn the onboarding steps into a shareable infographic. So you can see here that the infographic builder secrets code just turned my onboarding steps into a shareable infographic. Now let's move on into the next set of codes, and these ones actually touch meetings, deck, and money. Okay, so these are like the last few ones I'll be touching on. Now let's assume I ran a discovery call about this new onboarding offer, right? So let's say I ran a meeting. I can come in here and use /meeting visualizer, and I can just enter the meeting notes, or you can also connect the meeting, whichever tool you are using, whether you're using Google Meet, Granular, you can just connect that. And what is going to happen is it's going to turn the notes that just happened into an interactive dashboard. So you can see that Claude just took the meeting notes, the messy meeting notes I had, and it has actually visualized it a lot more neatly for me. The last secret code is the deck builder. And what this does is that it takes those same messy notes and turns them into a presentation ready slide deck through Gamma, so that my messy call becomes a clean deck and I can send the client without even having to rebuild a single thing. Now, someone would ask, why can't you just do this in Claude Design? If you want to do this bit of it in Claude Design as well, you can do so as well. And now, because my onboarding is fixed and is now worth more, I can basically come into Claude and use the /negotiation secrets code, and it's actually going to basically prep me to raise my retain, my positions, my leverage, and even what to say in my next meeting. Now, you don't need to memorize all of these. You just have to start with the first few ones that actually are relevant to the type of work you do. And as time goes on, you can introduce new secrets codes, and you'd realize that your work is going to change, your output is going to change, and you'd actually be able to get the real return on your monthly subscription from Claude. The best way to support my channel is to hit the subscribe button and also share this video, drop your comment, all the good stuff. If you're interested in learning more about Claude, I do have lots of tutorials on this channel on Claude skills and how I use Claude to basically edit my videos. If you're interested in watching those videos, I'm basically going to link them on the screen. But yeah, as usual, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.